Hi there, and welcome to this exciting potpourri of views, perspective ahead of the 2026 World Cup. It's going to be 30 minutes of exciting perspective coming to you from across the continent as we look forward to an exciting World Cup. It's the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which gets on the way very shortly, and why not? Africa is there. We've got 10 representatives who will be hoping to fly the African flag high and, of course, hoping that it brings some laurels back to the country. We're talking about the most prized trophy in the world of football. I'm talking about the FIFA World Cup. So, welcome. It's going to be an exciting discussion. And I've got beautiful people, handsome ladies all over the continent. And, of course, you'll be hearing their beautiful and handsome voices very shortly. Let me begin with the only lady right now, Aju Abemeda, all the way from Ghana. How you doing, lady?
I'm saying I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm great. I can see you. You're already looking very patriotic. You've got your Ghanaian jersey.
Of course.
Can you represent that flag? Yes. Let's see your that hand on that flag. Yeah, great. What about Buba Jalo? Of course, proud German and all smile, looking very, very great and good to go. By the way, Buba, how you doing?
I am also doing well. Coming all the way from Western Germany. And as a football commentator, I'm also quite excited that finally we've been waiting for this World Cup for a very long time, and it's finally here. Really, really excited. I'm not just rooting for Germany in this World Cup. I'm actually rooting for all of the African countries that are there, especially the DR Congo. I've been rooting for them. So I can't wait.
Buba is showing his hand already. Isaac Kaleji also who joins us from Ghana. I mean, Isaac, you're not like most of us here. I mean, you just follow football with some sense of caution. Is that right? So are you excited that the World Cup is here already?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I love football. I love sports. So definitely I look forward to the matches. And so it's exciting because I mean, there's nothing so much getting us united for some time now. A lot of conflict, a lot of tension all over the place. So I'm sure for this, we will obviously will have some kind of free space to cheer our teams on and see them do very well. Yeah.
Okay, great. And with me here is a sports journalist. He's Richard Badin. He hosts a radio show here, Daily Sports Radio Show. Rich, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good evening to you and every other person. I'm excited to actually be here, meeting new people. I'm meeting every one of you for the very first time. It's actually a thing of joy. And the happiest thing is the fact that the World Cup starts today.
But your country, Nigeria, is not at the World Cup. Why are you excited?
Well, I'm excited because if we had gone to the World Cup, we would only have certificates of participation.
Really?
I have something to show you.
Oh!
I don't do that
to them. Thanks, Buba. Yeah. So like I was saying, we might just have certificate of participation.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of things happen, that made Nigeria not be at the World Cup. Wrong recruitment of coach, so a bad selection of players, and I think at some point, the team was not just it. But at the point they later got themselves back when things were supposed to be better off, they were not actually still there. But we're good. We believe if we continue in this light, we'll be in the next edition. But 2026 will surely work for some African countries. Why so? We pray we work for them.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, let me go to Adwa now. Ghana is in the World Cup. Definitely one of the African countries who will be hoping to go way past, hoping to get to the quarterfinals, if not the semifinals. I'd like to find out from you, how is the excitement like in Ghana? What are the people saying? Are they looking forward to a great tournament, or are they just being scared? Especially owing to the fact that you've had a very turbulent preparation going to the 2026 World Cup. Tell me, what's happening in Ghana?
So it's been a lot of cautious optimism in Ghana right now. About a few weeks before, you had people, expressing skepticism. People were not really enthused about the idea of the Black Stars going into the World Cup because obviously I've mentioned the issues about the coaching changes and even the players themselves, there have been some new players, who have come on board. Players like Mohamed Kudus will not be able to join us because of his injury. Some players, who have also been taken out as well because of a few things. And so people were not very optimistic. But I would say that in the last 1 week, in Ghana, usually when we are going towards the World Cup, you see musicians songs. And just last week, one of the biggest high life musicians, Kofi Kinata, actually released his Black Star song, which started gingering people, started spurring people on, started sparking that enthusiasm. There's a thing about Ghana where people really like their celebrities, and so when they put out things, they have that influence, to be able to change perspectives and all of that. So from then, I see a lot of spirit going into the football. There's also the issue about jerseys, like what I'm wearing at the moment. I think that people who are selling jerseys are cashing in very much. You see people on social media posting videos or pictures with their jerseys. Everybody is trying to get someone. That is all rekindling the spirit in the Black Stars. But I still think that a lot of Ghanaians are approaching this with a lot of caution, especially because a lot of our games prior we have not necessarily performed well. It was just the last game that we had a draw. So people are very, very cautious and are just hoping that the first match with Panama would pave the way for Ghanaians to support the Black Stars. We can go into the details of the teams that are in Group L, but I think that will come later. But essentially, Ghanaians are optimistic, but not so much. Yeah.
All right, I'd like to welcome some other people into this discussion. Of course, the big man from Kenya, Andrew Asiki. Asante, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I see there's excitement in the room, and it's for a good cause.
Oh, great. We'll be talking to you very shortly, but let me go to Tuso Kumalo, who is in South Africa. Siabonga, sir. How you doing, Tuso?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I mean, today is the big day. I mean, it's not oftentimes you see an African country playing the opening game. So we have the opening game against one of the host nation. I mean, is South Africa prepared to face the crowd? And of course, what's the excitement like in Johannesburg, in Durban, in Cape Town? What are the people saying?
I can tell you literally where I am, there are thousands of people. I'm here in Midrand. People that have come to watch. Unfortunately, it's dark, you can't see, but a lot of people are arriving to come and watch Bafana on big screens. We have got these viewing parks in different parts of South Africa where people are flocking. Now, as we speak, hundreds are flocking into this place. People are very positive. I mean, I spoke to a number of them. They will tell they hope their team is going to make them proud. They know that Mexico is not an easy team to go by, but they are very positive that whatever happens, Bafana is going to make them proud. They've come in their numbers. Unfortunately, they have only to support them in front of big screens around here, but the atmosphere is ecstatic. Everyone is excited, and people have come out in their numbers to watch the game.
Okay, while I stay with you too, so I have a Nigerian here. I mean, he believes that Ghana will likely not win today. I beg your pardon, South Africa is not going to win this opening game. Just listen to him. Richard, why are you so pessimistic? Why are you so after South Africa?
South Africa knew how they went to the World Cup. They were all over, Nigeria. At some point, you didn't want Nigeria to qualify. Finally, we are not at the Mundial. But remember what your minister said, that he's happy Nigeria is not at the World Cup. Yes, we're good with it, but we need our support. That's just it. Because if you have supported us to beat the Congo, they will become brothers.
Okay, Andrew, let's get to Kenya. Kenya has not been to the World Cup before, and I know that the football culture in Kenya is pretty good. What's the atmosphere like? Are people talking about the World Cup? Are they also gravitating towards a particular country? What are the fans really saying? What are they looking forward to?
Yes, thank you. Although Kenya did not qualify for the World Cup, we are seeing a lot of excitement across the country because the Black Stars are there, Bafana is there, and a lot of people this time from my area where I stay are supporting the Black Stars. I don't know, for some reason, I don't know it's because of We remember when Asamoah Gyan, I think that's how we say the name, lost that penalty kick that could have meant a lot for Africa. So this time round, the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, where I am, they have set up designated places where people can come and just relax in the open and watch the opening matches. There is excitement. A lot of people today want to see South Africa's Bafana Bafana shine. And I think all eyes are on Africa right now.
All right, let's go to Buba. Buba, of late we've seen the whole issue with xenophobia in South Africa. Just this morning, over 276 Nigerians voluntarily were repatriated back to the country. Same with Ghana and all of that. Do you think that South Africa may likely suffer some consequence in terms of the followership and support that we get from fellow Africans as they begin their, of course, quest to get even to the finals of the 2026 World Cup? Do you think it's going to play any role in terms of the support that we get?
As a journalist as well as a football commentator, I've already seen comments, I've already seen responses on social media platforms, on Twitter, of the rest of Africa basically hating on South Africa, hating on Bafana Bafana. I've also heard from South Africans that say that they are not going to support Bafana Bafana. Why? Because of these so-called xenophobic attacks that are taking place in South Africa at the moment, and it's affecting the performance of the team. I think before this upheaval started, the support for the rest of Africa was there, especially Bafana Bafana, given their performances at the last AFCON. I mean, this is a team that for a long while suffered humiliation in the hands of like really small teams across Africa, and all of a sudden, the Bafana Bafana team came out of nowhere, and then they strengthened. They had a team of depth, and then they performed really well at the AFCON. So people were really excited to see Bafana Bafana at this World Cup. But I think, and I also see that from these xenophobic attacks in South Africa, that Africans are not supporting Bafana Bafana, or the excitement for Bafana Bafana is dampened.
All right, Richard, would you like to just jump in very quickly?
Yes.
And let us have your thoughts on this xenophobia and, of course, its consequences on the support that the Bafana Bafana side will get at the World Cup.
Right, beside the banter, I think the Bafana Bafana side is a team that will have actually given us what we needed in football. Big shout out to Hugo Bros and the players. They play fantastic football, good style of football. But another thing is, whether you like it or not, there is this bad blood that has been drawn, amongst Africans now. I mean, between South African nations now and Bafana Bafana. For example, Nigeria, Nigerians are not really happy on how they've been treated. I even saw on like when I checked my timeline on Facebook earlier before now, about 1 hour ago, I saw the way Nigerians have been reacting towards the xenophobic attack and why they don't even want Bafana Bafana to succeed at the World Cup. This is not a Bafana Bafana thing because it's just a football team, but it is a South Africa thing. Now, how will Africans vent their anger? It's towards the Bafana Bafana because this is like the biggest thing happening now in the world, being at the World Cup. And I just wish this could actually end. We put away our differences, the banters, and if we see good football, we support. But for now, whatever South Africa plays at the World Cup now, I don't think it will really mean so much to a lot of Africans because they've lost their businesses, they've lost their homes, they've lost a whole lot of things. So I just feel if this can stop in good time, it could actually have a good faith on the South African team. And don't forget, we also have other African nations in the US, in Canada, and other places, and they will also be weighing their support there. If they don't support South Africans, that would kill the team spirits.
All right, now, let me get to Tuso now to bring us the South African perspective to this issue we're talking. Is it an issue at all in South Africa? Looking at the reaction fellow Africans are beginning to bring forth with this whole xenophobic incidences and of course that we witnessed in recent times.
Unfortunately, I have to say yes. When you speak to a number of foreign nationals here, I mean, they feel unwelcome because of the xenophobia, the anti-immigrants violence that's taking place. I mean, as we speak now, we have got about nearly 2,000 Malawians that are sleeping in the open, ready to go back home. Nigerians have gone home. Some people from Ghana have gone home. So you have got this attitude from people to say, we can't, how can we celebrate this team because we feel unwelcome. But of course, I mean, this is football. Others are saying, let's enjoy football. Let's put all our differences aside. I mean, off the pitch, let things happen, but on the pitch, let's support. This is an African team. It's one of the 10 African teams. So there are some people making that call, but unfortunately, with a lot of things that are happening here, a lot of foreigners not knowing what's going to happen, especially with the June 30 deadline that has been given by the marchers here to say all undocumented foreign nationals should leave. They are on the edge right now. For them, it's not time to celebrate. If you talk to some of them, they'll tell you, we can't celebrate because we don't know what will happen. We are on our way out. So this is not our team. I mean, they don't feel Africans enough here in South Africa because of this violence. But we know that it's only a few, it's only some groups. It's not all South Africans. And President Cyril Ramaphosa has said South Africans are not xenophobic because it's not all South Africans that are doing this. But it's unfortunate. But now, with a lot of people here tonight, a lot of people are either in front of their screens at home or in front of their screens in the pubs or in the viewing parks. People united there. Unfortunately, I've not been able to see if there are some foreign nationals that have joined here, but we have got thousands that are out waiting for this match that's going to happen tonight.
Okay, Adwa, let me have your quick take on this very quickly before I move on to the next issue.
Yeah. So I find it quite unfortunate that the World Cup is happening at this time, especially because this is South Africa's, first World Cup since 2010. The last one they played was one they actually hosted in 2010. So the anticipation for me for the Bafana team itself will be very, exciting that, we've not qualified up until this time. Now that we are coming in, all of these issues about xenophobia are happening. I also have, a very different thought. I think that, like your colleague beside you was talking about, I think that we should put our differences aside. I've seen a lot of, Africans saying that Gonzalo's, Estefina, Gomez, and all of that. They are taking on Mexican names, trying to support Mexico instead of South Africa. But the question I'm asking is, are we going to, toe the line about our differences, or are we going to unite against, unite towards ourselves? Because we have been pushing the One Africa agenda for a very long time. And so I am hoping that the South Africa, team would perform well, because this is the opener. If they do well, I feel like it will give the rest of Africa the confidence that this World Cup, we mean business, and then we are here to do something, Yeah.
It's quite interesting that I'm just looking at the comments that are coming through, and they are all geared towards the same thing that we're trying to highlight, that a lot of Africans are really trying to root for Mexican. I think we can still be patriotic. I think we shouldn't let certain incidences by very few bad people overshadow the love of an entire country and, of course, get us in second corner. Now, we cannot rule out the fact that this World Cup will be the one that will be laced with so many controversies. Of course, President Donald Trump is there. He's trying to make America great again. And with the FIFA World Cup, many things are happening. Buba, one of the best African referee, was subjected to some humiliating incident, right? I can see the smiles all over our faces. So you know what we're talking about. Now, he will not have the opportunity to officiate at the biggest platform of his life for reasons that, for me, I really can't understand. Now, what do you think this will do, especially for a nation like Africa, and perhaps the only country where his only referee will be subjected to this kind of situation? Your take, Buba?
My personal take here is that let's put aside the record that this referee Umar was going to make for his country, Somalia. Put that aside. Let's look at the bare fact of why someone from Somalia was rejected entry to the US by the political leaders. Although Trump said he did not he did not issue directions for this guy's rejection, but of course the system is there. We all know the conflict the personal conflict he has with a Somali origin, someone born, okay, whose parents are from Somalia, Ilan Omar, who is a senator, a Democrat senator, who has a personal conflict, who is actually beefing with Donald Trump. And as a result, Trump has been seen attacking Somalians, has said a lot of derogatory statements about Somalians, and that Somalians should all be deported out of the US. So this comes as no surprise, and for me, it has nothing to do with football. It has nothing to do with this guy's connection with, as they claim, to terrorist organizations. It just has to do with politics and his personal beef with a Somali politician or Somali-born US politician, Ilan Omar.
What about you, Tuso? Before I get to Andrew, I mean, how is it received in South Africa, this news of one of Africa's best being subjected to this kind of situation by the country where he was hoping to move his career to another level?
To be truthful, that has been received with a lot of anger and disappointment by a lot of people here. A lot of people have just called it racism. They say it's purely racism because it targets one of the best coming out of Africa, going in there to lift up the flag for Africa, and they're not given that chance. So a lot of people very angry. You know that in the background you have got other players from some African countries that we saw being screened on the tarmac, and for a lot of people here, I mean, you hear the comments, they're saying that is embarrassing, that is humiliating, and they don't understand why that would happen, especially with the African team. So a lot of off the pitch things that are happening now as far as the World Cup is concerned, it seems to be attracting a lot of negativity, one of them being Omar's case, and others, of course, the teams, the way they are treated there. And we've heard that some people have had to turn back. People with tickets, they've not been allowed to enter the US for one reason or the other. So I think because of the negative things that are happening there, the mood here when looking at the holistic of the whole World Cup, people are saying there are things that are not wrong. Off the pitch, there's already unfairness in terms of how some African teams have been treated, and of course that could affect their spirit, their zeal to perform well there. So the attitude from here in South Africa is that that should have not been allowed. They wanted FIFA to intervene. They think FIFA did not do enough to try and intervene and make sure that Omar ends up doing what he was meant to do. But yeah, we sit here, he's back in Somalia, and this is the situation.
All right, by a show of hand, for all of us on this, stream right now, who would have loved to be in America today or in Mexico to watch the opening fight? By a show of hand. Wow.
I can tell you, I was prepared. I was really prepared to go for this World Cup. Last year, I already planned. I budgeted for everything. I already told my friends across North America that I'll be coming there. But after seeing everything that was going on, and as an African, even though I hold a foreign passport, but as an African, I know I will be targeted in one way or the other, and I don't want to find myself in such, dehumanizing situation. So I chose to watch it from here.
That's great. Ajua, you didn't put up your hand. Why?
Yeah, I didn't. If I ever wanted to go, maybe Mexico, but not, from, because I know there's so many stories. This Omar story, and earlier you were talking about the fact that FIFA did not do much. I saw the press conference that FIFA did, and I was disappointed. Infantino was talking about the fact that sometimes we have to relax, and that there was nothing they could do about it. It was disappointing, for want of a better word, for me. Good news though is that we know that Umar, for instance, is going to. He's going to facilitate the UEFA Super Cup later in August. And earlier, our colleague Michael, did a brilliant report about why the Confederation of African Football is silent in all of this. Interestingly, I've seen that just 3 hours ago, they released a statement saying that the UEFA deal is actually a memorandum of understanding they reached with CAF, just so that they can put Oma out. I don't know if this is they are trying to do damage control, or they really negotiated that memorandum of understanding. But I just think that sometimes we should put in the support for the talents that we have in Africa. A lot of times when we are talking about football, even here in Ghana, we talk about the fact that authorities fail to really invest in the talent. These are some of the things that prevent people, or sort of bring their spirits down when it comes to tournaments, and putting in their best and showing themselves out there. So if I had any chance, maybe I would have just gone to Mexico to watch the football. Yeah.
Oh, great. I mean, it was an interesting perspective from Buba, who wanted to go, had all the plans in place. And of course, for Ajua, giving us our own perspective also. Andrew, you also had your hand up. What was the push for you? What was the drive for you to wanting to be in either the United States, Canada, or Mexico, as they call it?
The push for me is just the love for the game. The love for the game. I've always wanted to attend the World Cup. And I think this could have been one of those moments that I could have gone there. And we have got Bafana, we have got the Black Stars. So I think it could have been a very good opportunity for me. But I'll have to lean on what Buba said. Especially here in Kenya, we have got a place called Little Mogadishu, which its real name is Isli. But people call it Little Mogadishu because there are many Kenyan Somalis who are from this place. And there are also people who travel from Somalia just to come there to do business and all that. And we work together, and it's a good relationship. So if you look at comments that people have been making, people have been sad. They feel victimized. They feel that this is something between Donald Trump and Somalia as a country. You see this young man, Omar, has been a top referee since 2018. He has been vetted by FIFA. Like Ajoa mentioned, I'm so happy that at least he's going to officiate the UEFA Super Cup. It's not a small game. It's Paris Saint-Germain and Aston Villa. So at least it's something. But at the end of the day, does it really matter that much? Because it's called the World Cup for a reason. It's the World Cup. We want to see our top referee, like Buba said, it's not about just breaking records and all that. We want to see our top referee from Africa officiating some of these games. So it's raising a lot of questions. But I think now that I've thought about it from just this panel, I think I'll join Ajoa in Mexico. Yeah, because I will not be allowed to enter the US. I will not be allowed.
Let me just say one or two words to what
Right.
Andy said there. You look at the position at which we are coming from, or the African continent is standing, that we aren't able, or the continent is not able to influence anything here. It tells you a lot about, the whole thing is political, and we have our political leaders that are not able to influence FIFA, that are not able to influence the US and President Trump. I tell you, we're coming from a position of weakness, which is bad. It's really bad, especially if you look at all of this from outside of the continent. It's extremely frustrating.
Absolutely. And Buba, you've struck a chord where I'm very passionate about. When our leaders are not able to man off, to confront and of course deal with issues to protect their own citizen, and of course because you don't treat us anywhere less. You don't treat us with different standards, and I think this is what is also playing out, that you can see the kind of reaction, the defense, for the Somalian referee was really quite minimal. And it was quite unfortunate. Richard, you heard all that everyone has said. Do you differ on this position, or what are your own thoughts on what you've mentioned so far?
No, not really. I think I was actually disappointed at FIFA. This is a World Cup, co-hosted by 3 nations: United States, Canada, and Mexico. They would have made plans. I was not expecting this man to actually, because he could not get entry into United States, and that's all. It actually speaks so low about FIFA. It means there were no plans. And I asked myself a question: if this referee was from Germany who had this problem, would they have let him go? If he was from England, would they have let him go? And to some extent, now you begin to see that FIFA themselves didn't even mean well for their staff. Let me use the referees now as their staff at the World Cup. Maybe for the players, yeah, they have plans for them. But what about the officials? Now, if this had happened in Africa, the news should have been quite different completely. If this had happened probably in the Euros tournament, we'll have seen something else completely. What's happening in the World Cup, rejecting the only referee that would have actually feel or actually made us proud. It's actually something to get worried about. I wish Africans could actually build themselves to that level where our players don't even play abroad. They play back home here. We keep away our sentiment, we keep away the corruption, we focus on developing our football. Our players play back here, our referees are grown, are developed here in Africa. We don't care about the UEFA, whatever license, focus on the CAF license, make them stronger. And I believe there are plans to make these things work. Because if we make our football better and better, even if it's not up to theirs, but a bit closer to theirs, definitely they will surely give us some respect. I would say this could actually be a third world country. But if this was Brazil, they wouldn't set the coach back. They will find a way to put the coach the referee. Thank you, sir. They would have actually found a way to put the referee back in the game, probably in Canada or Mexico. But telling an African, a Somali referee to go, come on, it looks dead to me.
A lot of talking points. Tuso, I think I need to hear your voice on this before we move on to some other aspects of our discourse this evening. Yeah, Tuso?
The disappointment, like the colleagues have said, is more about the reaction that we got, especially from those that have power, those that have political power. I mean, it has been a total silence, as if nothing has happened. You come to FIFA, they just explain it like a small thing that has happened. You don't have power, you can't force nations. But this is the World Cup. This should have been one of the conditions that people are able to enter into these countries. I mean, we're talking of a guy who has credentials that are out there in the open. Anyone could get into them and see that this is a genuine guy who has been doing very well in soccer. So you can't give any other reason to try and stop him except that you just hate him, or you just I mean, there's no justification. You can't classify him anywhere else except to say he's a well-known football coach, a referee, soccer star, somebody who is respected in soccer. So the sentiments, I think, to a certain extent, are justified. You had some people even saying maybe all African countries that are participating in the World Cup should have just said we can't go ahead. If our teams are treated this way, we all will pack our bags and go. Maybe that would have made a statement. Maybe that would have made FIFA.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Also forced to reckon with as far as things are concerned. People saying the action was not enough. They wanted to see more Africans being united with one voice. Maybe this was the only chance when Africa would make a statement, when the world is focusing on the World Cup, Africa pulls out, and then the world will start recognizing that we've got Africa out there, a continent that's powerful enough to reckon with. But unfortunately, yeah, as things stand out, the World Cup is just about to start, and people will continue their life. But I think after this, Africans need to sit and unite and say, how do we force ourselves into these situations where we are closed out, where we are treated unequal, not equal like others. So I think these are questions that Africans will have to sit and deliberate on, so that when such things happen, they stand together, they have one voice, and they make a statement together so that they are heard and respected.
All right, I mean, it just gets a little bit worse. And Tuso, thank you for the points you've made. I'm sure that all of us as Africans need to listen to the last couple of statements you made, and that this will also even drive us, not just when it comes to international matters like this, but even locally. You know, we see things happen to somebody because it doesn't really concern us, or when it gets to governance issue, leadership issue, we tend to just look the other way, like, well, it will just solve itself. I mean, the situation will clear and all of that. But I think that we need to organize and not just to agonize, right? Organize as Africans, and of course, I mean, look at what Iran did. Iran literally threatened that they were not going to go to the World Cup. And it sent, I mean, FIFA couldn't stand the embarrassment. And they tried to do a lot of back channel arrangement to get things sorted out. And I think for us as Africans, it's a wake-up call, and we need to do something really different. As I said earlier, it only gets worse, Adwa, because we also had visa denials for lots of Africans. Visa denial for supporters who had others have gone ahead to buy tickets. As expensive as those tickets were, they went ahead to get those tickets, and then of course they're not given visas to go support their teams and all of that. Again, what does this say about the kind of standards FIFA, the United States, and all those in between use in terms of their approach towards African teams and African supporters?
Blatant discrimination and absolute disregard for Africans, and very, very disrespectful. And look at the conditions at which they subjected some of the team members. The Senegalese team were forced into a small room with a sniffer dog. Imagine Sadio Mane and all his team in a room being sniffed by a dog. And what are they looking for? I don't get it. What are they looking for? Don't tell me that these guys are terrorists. They're coming to play football at an international tournament and be subjected. And half of their staff were also, they didn't get visas. Their training staff didn't get visas. How do you expect, first of all, these African teams to perform in this tournament when they've already been subjected to these dehumanizing conditions? When they arrive, they're already defeated. And football is not just being played on the pitch. Football is also being played in the head. You need to be in a better state to play better football. If you're not in a better state, you can't play it. And these guys have already been defeated before they even arrived there. So don't expect any magic coming from them. If they do come, I wouldn't be surprised either, because Africans, we are very resilient. So something might happen. As I said, the dark horses are in Africa in this particular tournament, but the conditions that they've been subjected to, to me at least, all of these 10 teams representing Africa, they've already been defeated.
All right, Adwa, let me hear your thoughts on this. I think it would be good to get your perspective also on this. Buba is really trying to even get me a bit emotional, and thinking about what he said. I mean, getting a sniffer dog to sniff you. These are professional players, and all of that. I mean, what do you make of this?
Well, so I think that it's time for Africa to rise, not just, trying to secure more deals, trying to establish or stamp its place in global politics, but in all affairs in the globe as well. I feel like for a very long time, we have been on the sidelines. For a very long time, we have been, at the receiving end of bad treatment. Our leaders don't speak up. Like the earlier issue I was talking about, this is the moment where you find the African Union, you find CAF, issuing strong statements, boycotting things, taking strong action, so that we know that, or they know that, they cannot trample over us and go scot-free. But we stay silent, we receive all the treatment, and at the end of the day, we suffer for it. I just hope that, as tough seeds that as we are as Africans, I hope that the team will not be so discouraged about some of these treatments that we have received, and they'll go and then do their very best at the World Cup, because at the end of the day, your performance at the global stage, even though the circumstances were not equal for you to perform well, you still be measured by how well you perform at the global stage. So I'm just hoping that, Africa can, thrive in the midst of all these challenges, because we are a strong continent, and emerge stronger in this World Cup. I would be very happy to see Morocco maintain, its 2022 streak of semi-finals, or even break it, or another African country like Ghana, for instance, break our 2010 record and go past the quarterfinals. This year, round of 32 that has been introduced is quite, another thing, because the matches have extended. And so you are looking at the teams playing more games than they usually would play to qualify to maybe the semis or the quarters. But I'm hopeful in our team that they can, do well. At least 2 African teams can get us to the quarterfinals. I'm hoping and praying. Yeah.
For the first time in the history of the 2026 of the World Cup, by the way, not just the 2026 World Cup, we've got 10 African teams making it to the World Cup. Cape Verde, Algeria, Cote d'Ivoire, DR Congo, Egypt, Ghana, Morocco, Senegal, South Africa, and Tunisia. They all carry the continent's flag. And of course, for a big country like Nigeria, Richard, that's not going to the World Cup, we need to choose which country. Buba has chosen the team already. And
are you 4 African giants? Just a question.
Now, don't hit below the belt, Adjua. Okay, so looking at these 10 countries, now let's be very realistic. For Adjua and Tuso, you got teams going. Your national teams are going to the World Cup. For Buba, okay, Buba is a German, also got his country there. But for me, Richard and Kenya, and of course Andrew, I think the good thing is I will not be tense, right? We'll watch the game, with so much pleasure, and of course we're going to be much relaxed, right? But let's look at those 10 teams. I just started talking about it today. Which of the teams, and again, let's be very objective with this, which of these teams do we see will likely progress at least to the quarterfinals of this World, especially that this World Cup is expanded? How many teams from the continent do we see making it through to the quarterfinals? Let's start with you, Tuso.
South Africa, of course.
Definitely. You don't expect me to say anything else. South Africa, I'm behind South Africa. South Africa first, then the others. Maybe Ghana following that, yeah. But we wish the best. We know that Bafana has not impressed as far as the World Cup is concerned, but we all have to be patriotic at this time. Patriotism first, then the skills and other things we'll see them taken. But really, I'm hopeful that at least the boys could go out of the group stage. We know Morocco is, we know Mexico is not an easy team, but we wish them all the best. We're hoping for the best. I will insist that I'm behind Bafana. We're praying. It's through prayer that we hope things are going to happen. All
right. Tuso is saying they're going to go very spiritual. They will be praying, I don't know which God they'll be praying to, because the God is a God, I think, for everyone, right? All right, what about you, Andrew? Which team do you think will make it through, at least past the second round into the quarterfinal stage?
I already mentioned earlier, I am Team Ghana. But I am watching what South Africa is doing. I'm also watching what South Africa is doing. Because I don't want to say Morocco, because this will be like cheating, because we expect Morocco to play very well. But yeah, this time I'll say I will support Ghana all the way. It has nothing to do with the xenophobia talk that we have had. Yes, yeah. But yeah, definitely I'll support Ghana.
All right, what about you, Richard?
Well, I think for the African teams, I think I've seen the progression for Morocco. To be honest, yes, in the last World Cup, Morocco actually played very well, but we saw how they were more defensive than offensive. But coming from the African Cup of Nations and the World Cup qualifier, you would understand that it's a more compatible team. You wouldn't want to say they actually got to that stage with luck, because they developed themselves. In as much as we have our differences, during the African Cup of Nations, I think Morocco actually plays the best brand of football currently in Africa.
Really?
For me, yeah, this is actually a personal thing. I think this was the only country that played against Nigeria at the World Cup. And at the AFCON, let's not forget Nigeria played a very good football. But when they played against Morocco played Nigeria for 120 minutes. When I mean played possession and everything for 120 minutes. Now, that actually is something you can give credit to Morocco. And when you take a look at their friendly games, the last against Brazil, they won 2-1. If you had actually watched that game, you will understand better what I'm saying. I think this Morocco side is more compatible than what we had, in Qatar. In the 2022 World Cup there in Qatar. to be honest with you, I will give it to Morocco. Maybe if another country will make us proud, maybe that will be South Africa.
Okay. Buba, what about you? I know you declared your assets earlier, but again, let's hear you.
Okay. I'm watching Morocco, but I'm a bit
Okay.
skeptical. The reason I say that is because the main team that took Morocco to the semis in the last World Cup, Hakim Ziyech, for instance, he's not in the lineup this. I think if I get it right, he's not in the lineup this time around, and they do have one of the best left back or the best left back in Europe at the moment in Ashraf Hakimi. Their right back Mazraoui didn't have a good season. This particular, he didn't have a good season, and they also have Bilal El Kanous, who is from the Bundesliga, and he's a young star. So you actually see that a lot of young players are there in this national team, and for me, they are untested. Chaibi is another one. For me, it's also on not so well tested. That is why, even though I think this is a very dangerous game, I watched all of their friendlies before this World Cup, and I thought they were strong, but I also saw a lot of insecurity. But my two dark horses for this particular tournament, one is Ivory Coast. I think that is a very dangerous team. When I look at their flanks, they have really dangerous flanks, yeah. And they also have that youngster that no one knows about, Doué, the brother of the Paris Saint-Germain, the PSG star, Desiré Doué, the brother who also scored in that game, in that friendly against when they beat France. I think you saw that friendly as well. This was a really, really good game for Ivory Coast, and they were extremely surprising. And the way they play high football, they play tactical football. It's not the usual sort of football you see in Africa, which is more about strength, more about physicality. But you also saw Ivory Coast playing that European type of football, which for me, it was very impressive. And it was, fast plays. They had every bit of it, what they call the gegenpressing, what they call tiki-taka. They had a mixture of all of that, which to me, they delivered fabulously. I also thought Ghana were splendid in their friendly against England, where they also beat England. They were extremely good. It's the kind of football I saw in the continent, and I was like, wow, African football has come. It's there. It's really there. We just need to find ways to remove politics from our football, then we would enjoy the game just like Europeans do. We just need that. But the African football, the tactics that Europeans learn, Africans have been able to learn that. We have some of the best coaches as well, who are also Africans, and they're doing a fabulous job. And when I see them, when I watch the way this team play, and I think these are dark horses that are going to surprise a lot of people. For me, these two teams, Senegal and Ivory Coast, I see them going to this quarter or semi-finals.
Oh, great. Adwa, looking at the whole team, the 10 teams that we just talked about, and of course their preparations, Buba just hinted on it a bit there. Which of these teams were most or well prepared in terms of the size of the team, the strength of the team, and all that going to this World Cup? Which of these teams have had a better preparation? Because again, preparation is key. If you don't prepare well, you don't expect to do well. And it appears that for a lot of the teams, they've had some very turbulent preparation. You look at Morocco that all of us were talking about. They had to sack Regragui just barely months to the World Cup. You look at your own Ghana also. Otoado had to go, with all the poor results he turned in, whether it was by sheer ill-luck or his non-performance, tactical performance, as it were, and of course several other teams as we've seen. So will that bear some impact, or were they able to turn around their preparations that will make us really want to put a lot of confidence in their artistry when the World Cup begins?
Well, of course, preparation matters. They say that if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. So that's very basic and fundamental. A lot of the experts or football analysts I've spoken to have all alluded to the fact that there seem to be, lapses in our preparation. There are few countries who have, invested in their football who look like they are prepared. But then the arguments will also come that can you ever be prepared enough for anything? And so the strength of the team that a lot of these people are going into the World Cup. For instance, I've seen a ranking by Ringa. Ringa is like one of the key football ranking websites, and they put Morocco as the 11th most promising team in all the 48 teams that are going for the World Cup. Senegal is somewhere around 15, and then you have Ivory Coast, that Kuba also mentioned, which is around 23. So these three teams, in terms of preparation, in terms of investment, you hear a lot of analysts say that they have really invested in their football. Of course, the issue about coaching changes will come in, but if the foundation is strong, whoever you bring, will be able to pick up the team and run with it. The issue with Ghana is that a lot of people thought the team was already going through a lot of changes. And then you had, there was a losing streak, and then you had the introduction of Carlos Queiroz, coming just about, a few months, to the World Cup. And people thought that he did not have enough time to even see the strength of the team that he was presenting. But recently, when he released his starting 11, a lot of Ghanaians, think that there is hope, for Ghana to progress in the World Cup. So yes, preparation matters, but I still maintain that I have confidence in the teams. And my top three, like Buba mentioned, are Senegal, Ivory Coast, and then Morocco. Ghana, of course, let me not take Ghana out. Ghana will do well. But I'm skeptical about whether or not we'll be able to progress to the semis or the quarterfinals solely based on our strength in the past games, and then the issues about the preparation that have been developed for this while.
All right, it's just about 40 minutes before the first game of the 2026 FIFA World Cup featuring Mexico and South Africa will get underway, and I can see some excitement in South Africa. So, what is happening there?
For now, I've got this choir here with me. They are like these are some of our fans that are here, that they've come to enjoy. I don't know if you can hear me. I'll give you some music or something.
Molo, molo, wemolo, wemolo, molo, 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 molo,
I think you can see for yourself. I mean, this is the mood here. People are very positive. They are very, despite all the odds, they are saying, go Bafana, go. This is the mood here. We've got a lot of them that are singing down the other side that we can see. But this is what is happening here. They're just joining us to give at least UFO or power or hope to Bafana. There is hope. There's great hope here. I mean, despite that, at least we know Bafana is ranked down the 60th in the FIFA rankings, and Morocco is at 15. And of course, people are still positive. Like I said, here, we are going to win it by prayer. If you talk to a lot of people, prayer is going to work here for us.
Tuso believes so much in prayer, right? That prayer is going to do the magic, and that tells you. Now, Andrew, Tuso is praying a lot. So, what do you think that prayer will translate to later tonight, after 90 minutes? You think that South Africa will win, and by what margin?
I think Africa has to open the World Cup in style. And there are so many people praying, and not only people from Africa. So I think if I was to predict, we are going to have South Africa thrashing Mexico. It will be something like 4-0. And you did not hear it from me.
Really?
You did not hear it from me. These are prayers. Today we have to pray for South Africa. You have seen the spirit from the choir, the spirit from the choir itself. South Africa will thrash. I'm telling you for sure. This is coming from Andrew, and I'm a very false prophet. So don't take my word. 4-0. Yeah, because of I'll say, they face some challenges when some visa challenges when leaving, but still they push through. If this is not the power of prayer, I don't know. Yeah. So definitely South Africa will win.
Okay, so 4-0. That's what Andrew is
4-0.
predicting.
Four.
Wow. Buba was very surprised. I could see the surprise on his face. Buba, why were you surprised about that prediction that was backed by prayers?
Oh gosh. I was so surprised the way the confidence that Andrew used to predict this particular win for Bafana, and not just that South Africa is going to win against Mexico, but that 4-0 on an opening match in Mexico at the World Cup.
Yes.
Down in Mexico.
He's still very confident.
Yes.
In Mexico, football and God, they go together.
Home advantage, the home advantage and spiritual advantage. So if you weigh, I think
they pray too. Mexicans are also quite religious, so they also have God on their side. So I'm not saying.
For us Africans, we will employ all kind of prayers. So there's the African traditional kind of prayers. There is normal prayers, any kind of prayers. So I think Africa will really make Africa proud today.
Okay, so Richard, are you also praying? What are you doing?
Well, I think Nigeria is not the World Cup, so I don't need to even pray. I only need to watch and enjoy. For me,
who will win tonight?
I see Mexico winning because I don't expect South Africa to go to Mexico and beat Mexico in the first game of the tournament on their own soil. It's not just possible. Let me take us back to 2010 when South Africa hosted the World Cup. As a football team, South Africa was not that strong. When it became the first game of the, we saw what happened. South Africa gave us one of the most beautiful goals ever at the FIFA World Cup. So I think we should also give such credit to Mexico that these guys are not coming, to watch South Africa disgrace them on their floor. They have some of the best players we see in the Premier League or also La Liga play for them around Europe. So I think they also have the quality to play against South Africa big time. But Mexico to win.
Wait, I need numbers.
Okay, 2-0. 2-0 is okay.
Okay, 2-0 Richard. 2-0 Richard. Andrew 4-0 for South Africa. Buba, you didn't give us your prediction. Wow, what's your prediction in numbers?
In numbers, I would predict 2-1 win to Mexico.
2-1 to Mexico. Ajua, I can't wait to get your prediction of this one.
Well, at this point, I'm already defeated, but I think I'll go with a 1-1 draw. On the basics that the South African team is not as strong as we will wish it to be, but I'm just trying to be positive, and because in the last two World Cups, I think they exited in group stage, if I'm correct. So they don't have that wow element to them for me to say that they'll actually beat Mexico, like Buba was saying. So I'll give it a draw, 1-1.
Okay, 1-1. What to draw? And finally, on this prediction, Tuso haven't prayed, and I'm sure that in the next 13 to 35 minutes, you are going to step up, the prayer chain, as it were. What do you see that prayer resulting to at the end of 90 minutes?
We brought prayer warriors here to get us at least to a draw 1-1 because Mexico is not an easy team. We're hoping for a draw so that at least the others we know we can sort them out.
I mean, you've been modest. I mean, unlike Andrew, who has this very humongous confidence that you're going to do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You said a draw. Andrew said a draw. Buba said 2-1. And of course, Richard 2-0. Well, don't ask me where my heart is going, and of course where my head is leading me to. Let's wait and watch a very fantastic game. But finally, as we go, what will stand out for you, especially as we watch this World Cup? What should we be looking at for? I mean, especially for the African teams at this 2026 World Cup. Any unique thing in terms of players to look out for, in terms of coaches, in terms of surprises, and all of that. What should our expectations be measured? Anyone of you can start. Maybe Andrew.
Yeah, if I may start, I will look keenly. You remember when we had the Africa Cup of Nations, there were a lot of hiccups. I think this is a moment also for Africa to learn how such competitions are held, how they are organized. There was a lot of talk in Morocco. We all know what happened. So I think we are going to see how African teams have prepared, how they fare in the international space, but also we are going to learn a lot and hopefully improve our African Cup of Nations. Yeah, that is what I'm watching out on, and this is why I would really have loved if Omar could at least officiate referee some games in Brazil, in Mexico or the US.
All right, thank you very much, Richard. What about you?
Yeah, I think what they should learn is the fact that football rules ends on the pitch. It does not go outside of the pitch. You don't come months after to tell us after decisions from the round table, this was who actually won. I think they should rather understand that football rules ends on the pitch. Whatever disciplinary decision that will be taken should actually come later, but you don't change results after seeing what happened on the pitch.
All right, Buba.
There's quite a lot for me. I think you need to watch out for. I think there are certain players that are gonna be extremely brilliant at this particular season. For me, one player that I've watched throughout the Bundesliga that is shaking the Bundesliga right now, and he plays for RB Leipzig. That is Yan Diomande for Ivory Coast. He's a player that at the moment that is not well known. I mean, all the big stars, you know them, you know those names. You also know the names on the Senegalese team. You've seen all of them, but this particular Ivory Coast team to me is very dangerous because you have Amad Diallo coming from the right flank, Yan Diomande coming from the left flank, and you also have Frank Kessie in that central midfield, and he's a very experienced player. He's played 2-3 AFCON already, and he's a good leader in that center midfield. And to me, Yan Diomande is a player to watch out for, and I think he's going to make a name for himself in this particular tournament.
All right, Joe, what about you?
So, I mean, I'm looking for somebody to break the record of Asamoah Gyan as, Africa's top goal scorer at this World Cup. It would be interesting that somebody who can beat Ghana, to it. But apart from that, I mean, FIFA has said that this World Cup is going to be the greatest in its history. I'm looking forward to see how it all pans out, looking at, some of the challenges that we have seen in the onset or even at the very beginning. And then finally, the issue about supporters. For Ghana, for instance, we did not send, droves of supporters like we usually do. Rather, the government are, giving tickets out to the people in the diaspora to go and support these players. So I'm just looking at how all of these will play out. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
All right. Thank you very much, Adra. And Thuso?
I mean, what stands out for me is that Africa has made history, fielding 10 teams into the World Cup. I mean, if you look at the situations of the leagues in Africa, really that was quite an achievement. So all Africans, let's rally behind the boys. Let them make the continent proud. They need our support. I mean, they've done their bit. I mean, 10 teams, obviously that's history, and that's for the first time. So let's take that and lift them up and give them all the support. Despite all differences, despite all shenanigans happening outside the pitch, let's all focus and say to the boys, give them our best. You never know. Maybe one of them could go to the finals, semi-finals, or even lift up the cup. I mean, that's a possibility. To me, that's what stands out. The sterling work that African teams have made to make it into 10 positions. So let's support.
Thank you very much. And finally, from you, Richard?
Well, the South Africans side, of course, we wish you luck, the very best, in as much as many of us, my name is Richard Alpacho Gonzalez. So at this very point, I think we're still wishing you the very best to go out there. And the best of all to all African teams also participating. We hope to see 2 African teams in the semi-finals this time, not just one.
Wow, what an exciting discussion we had this evening. Guys, you were great. Your perspective was just sumptuous and very spicy. What can I say?
Samson, can I just make one last point, which
Please go ahead.
I actually forgot to say that. And the tournament has started already.
Okay.
Let's put politics aside. Let's put all the issues about xenophobia aside. This is football, a game that we all love. Let's just focus on football. Let's leave politics to politicians. Let them deal with it at the background. But the rest of this tournament, the whole of the continent, should just focus on football, and we just celebrate it and support the African teams and see Africa go forward. It doesn't matter which African country, whether it's Cape Verde, South Africa, Ghana, Ghana there, or Ivory Coast, and even in North African countries, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco. Let's support these teams. Let's see football develop in the African continent, and I think football, I believe that if football develops in the African continent, it's like a domino effect. A lot of development will happen to so many young people. It will bring many perspectives to young Africans, young stars that are growing up, and then they're not finding perspectives in other areas.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. To Ajua in Ghana, we wish Ghana Black Stars all the best. Yes.
Yay!
Of course, Tuso Kumalo is a wet winter evening in South Africa, but we need you guys to make Africa hot this evening by going all out there and, of course, giving us that 3 points. We need it. Honestly, we need it. And, of course, to Andrew Wakise in Kenya, the man with the 4. We hope to see how that will turn out. Thank you very much. To Richard Badum, who's been with me here. Richard, thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you. I won't forget all of you who are watching us, and thank you for your comments, really. I mean, I can see the comments coming through. Some of them were not too patriotic, yes, but we need to keep it, patriotic, united, and as one. Thank you very much. My name is Samson Omale from here in Nigeria. We wish Africa all the very best. Ciao.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup is officially underway. Host nation Mexico gets things started against South Africa at the iconic Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. But this isn't just any World Cup. For the first time ever, 48 teams are competing. Matches will be played across the US, Mexico, and Canada. And there will be a massive 104 games over 39 days. And here's a big one for Africa. A record 10 African teams have qualified, the most ever. Expectations are high, especially after Morocco's historic run in 2022 that got everyone dreaming bigger. Off the pitch, there's a bit of tension. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum says things are under control, but ongoing teachers' protests could affect plans for a fan zone at the famous Zocalo Square. So what should we expect from today's opener?
So it's pretty much history repeating itself. June 11, 2010, Mexico opened the first game against South Africa. That is in South Africa. And the game ended at 1-1 draw, which was really impressive for an African nation which was hosting the tournament, staging such a stellar performance. And today, many people and many football fans are especially expecting South Africa to, outdo that performance they had.
The build-up hasn't been smooth either. FIFA has faced criticism over visa issues affecting fans, officials, and teams. FIFA President Gianni Infantino responded saying efforts are ongoing, but some decisions are ultimately out of their hands. Still, the excitement on the ground is real. Fans are backing their teams all the way.
I'm very excited, man. I trust my boys. I know they can work, they can perform.
My direct message to the boys, boys, you got this. You know your power. 100% positivity, 1% chance, 99% faith. We trust in God for the win.
In South Africa, former Bafana players are calling on the team to stay focused ahead of this big opener.
They must be ready at this point. They must be ready, and the nation, everybody is looking for results.
mentally and physically, they need to be strong for that. I know they will come up with all the angles they want, up until they get the goal. But as a South African, we need to make sure we block everything.
For Africa's 10 teams, this tournament is a huge moment. Some are chasing history, others are making their debut, but all of them are looking to leave a mark on the world stage.
I'm expecting all the best for Ghana. Like, I'm expecting them to go and perform better and better and better.
And it seems that Ghana is getting a new coach. I'm praying that they will do well to excel. So far, African countries have not done their best. So this year we are hoping for the best. So I think our African countries will reach maybe semi-final, especially Ghana. Yes.